A tire screeches, a heavyweight gasps, and in one shattered second, two futures collide. That's where tonight's story starts. Because what just happened to Francis Ngannou, Sam Alvey, Arman Tsarukyan, and the rest isn't a string of random headlines. It's a chain reaction, and every link is about to yank you somewhere unexpected. Ready? Let's see what really hides behind the news ticker. Francis Ngannou's rise reads like folklore. Sand quarry to Paris gym to UFC gold. But fate just ambushed him far from any octagon. On a humid evening in Douala, he clipped a motorcycle, cradled the injured passenger into his back seat, and punched the gas toward the closest ER. Hospital bills covered on the spot, lawyers standing by. Yet 3 days later, the young woman was gone, and Cameroon's rumors began breeding quicker than facts. Some tabloids claimed Francis fled the country, others whispered manslaughter. Silence only fanned the flames until TMZ cameras caught him outside the PI, shoulders sagging. In a trembling statement, he vowed lifelong support for the victim's family, tuition funds for her siblings, a memorial foundation bearing her name, and a personal pledge to speak at road safety seminars in Cameroon. Training partners say the champ now ends every session with 10 lonely minutes staring at the cage wall, muttering that unbreakable doesn't mean unscarred. And suddenly fans who once saw an invincible predator now glimpse the man beneath the roar, aching, humbled, but set on turning guilt into something that actually helps the people he once called neighbors.
Then my son Kobe, I only take this fight because of him. I wanted to fight for him, but and I'm done. So I don't know. I hope they can remember his name.
Hundreds of miles away under Miami's neon, Sam Alvey waddled toward a pit-shaped ring most bettors thought would be his grave. 9 straight UFC fights without a win had turned Smilin' Sam into meme material, but Karate Combat 54 wrote a different punchline. Tyrone Spong attacked with bone whip calf kicks, forcing Alvey to hitch step like a dad on Legos, until an arcing left from the hip detonated on Spong's temple. Boom! Canvas thunder, audience stunned, and 2 belts draped across a guy most fans assumed had already slid into retirement podcasts. Alvey's mic time could have been a victory lap. Instead, he drag and dropped Eddie Hall into the conversation, daring the strongman to test those record-breaking deadlifts against a fighter's chin. Within 12 hours, Hall's rebuttal, filmed shirtless between monster tire flips, clocked over 1 million views, promising to bench press that smile straight off your face, mate. Bookmakers scrambled to price an event that doesn't exist yet, and suddenly a niche promotion's highlight became the internet's next freak fight fixation. Memes of Eddie curling Alvey like a kettlebell collided with gifs of Sam's knockout, and the hashtag #StrongmanVs trended above actual UFC Fight Night results. All from one punch nobody saw coming. Anthony Smith wished his night had ended on any punch at all. Instead, after a TKO loss that already stung, he heard a lone fan dumping verbal sewage onto everything he'd sacrificed. Camera phones caught Anthony's exhausted middle finger, but not Jamahal Hill exploding out of his seat, needing 3 security guards to cage the fury. Hours later, Hill's live stream shredded the heckler's Cheeto dust bravado, but beneath the venom was a plea: respect the people who gamble brain cells for your cheers. The rant snowballed. ESPN aired a segment on fighter fan boundaries, and an anonymous source leaked that the UFC is drafting an arena ejection policy with zero-tolerance language for abusive taunts. Smith himself, speaking softly on a local radio show, admitted the flip-off wasn't his proudest moment, then revealed that same heckler DM'd a written apology after Hill's viral takedown. Lionheart said he forgave him, but the episode proved a slur from one seat can overshadow 25 minutes of world-class combat. Hill's wrath may have scared a troll silent, yet it shouted a warning every crowd will remember next time blood hits canvas.
This dream of being the UFC champion since I was 17 years old. I'm 30. If I was the type of person that would give up or shy away from adversity, I wouldn't be where I am now. There's been so many ups and downs, and my career has been
Meanwhile, Stockholm's sky hadn't brightened when Alexander Gustafsson finished 10 rounds of pad work, stripped his gloves, and acknowledged the rumor no Swede thought they'd hear: bare knuckle. The Global Fight League he'd pinned his comeback on looks stuck in investor limbo, and Bare Knuckle FC slid a 6-figure offer across his manager's desk, plus a clause promising a Scandinavian stadium show headlined by the Mauler himself. Gustafsson is weighing glove less risk against one last fat payday, and he admits he's already sparred a few rounds without wraps just to feel the difference. Like firing a pistol versus a Nerf gun, he smirked. Traditionalists howl that bare knuckle would blight a technical masterpiece career. Realists note he's 37, family to feed, and a taste for adrenaline that regular retirement can't satisfy. Word is BKFC brass want to pair him with ex-UFC rival Thiago Silva, reigniting a 2012 scrap that ended in tears for Silva. If the ink dries, Sweden could host its first sanctioned bare-knuckle card, and Gustafsson's chance to rewrite a four-loss skid might come at the cost of a few split knuckles and a nation's gasp of morbid curiosity. Across the ocean, Aljamain Sterling poured extra espresso and doubled down on a hot take that already ignited debate. Renier de Ridder will outcraft Bo Nickel. Sterling rifled through numbers. Nickel's average control time plummets after the 6-minute mark, while RDR's submission threat spikes exactly then. He reminded listeners that RDR's judo background forces wrestlers to work angles they rarely drill, and Bo's striking defense, charted at 42%, leaves enough daylight for a Dutch shin to tap the temple. Sterling even phoned RDR mid-podcast, speaker on, to confirm he's been drilling southpaw switch kicks just for Nickel. Bo loyalists flooded the chat calling Aljo a clout chaser. Odds makers nudged Nickel from -450 to -260 overnight. Proof gamblers suddenly smelled upset. By weigh-in morning, the narrative had swung from "how fast does Bo ragdoll him" to "what happens if the ragdoll can bite?" And Sterling, ever the strategist, hinted that if his prediction lands, he expects a commentary gig on Nickel's next bout, stakes inside the cage and out.
Yeah, I'm right here, right whenever you want, man, whatever you want.
You heard it, Alexander Gustafsson wants his shot. Let's hear it one more time. Alexander.
Then TJ Dillashaw crashed a Twitch stream with the strangest scouting report you'll hear all year. How 9 heavyweights could maybe possibly subdue a silverback gorilla. John Jones for creativity, Tom Aspinall for agility, Curtis Blades to steer the clinch, Uberim for horsepower, Brock Lesnar to absorb the first mauling, Derek Lewis to land the "there he go" bomb, Cain Velasquez as cardio anchor, Daniel Cormier to wrestle its waist, and Bo Nickel to tie the back legs in a double leg bow. TJ laughed that the plan still feels like storming Normandy with slingshots, but his off-the-wall war room hit 6 million views in 48 hours. Fans drew battle diagrams, wildlife experts weighed in, and one zoo even tweeted, "Please don't." All gag, sure, yet it underlined MMA's wild magnetism. The sport loves technical breakdowns, but it also adores bonkers hypotheticals that let imaginations brawl as fiercely as fighters do. Arman Tsarukyan, though, isn't playing imagination games. Waking up ranked #1 should mean champagne, but the email offering Mateus Gamrot, #7 and fresh off a loss, tasted like cheap soda. Abu Dhabi main event, life-changing purse, but Arman's calculator measures legacy first. In a Russian interview, he rattled receipts. When he sat at 10, nobody above tossed him a lifeline. He warred uphill until the peak. So why should he drag a rival up now? Dana White fired back on social, warning, "Title shots are earned by fighting, not sulking." Arman counter-posted a 5 a.m. treadmill sprint at altitude captioned, "Sulking on 18 kph, Dana." Insiders say the UFC might pivot and dangle Dustin Poirier or Rafael Fiziev to break the deadlock, while Gamrot's agent threatens to leak sparring footage proof that Arman's quietly terrified. Comment sections seethe, half salute Tsarukyan's self-worth, half predict he'll talk himself into a year of cold shoulder purgatory. One thing is clear, by refusing a paycheck, he bought louder respect, and in prize fighting, volume sometimes spends like money.
So Islam, it's a different level fighter. But we fought 4 years ago. Now I was 22 years old. Now I'm 27. So guys, I got improved, and now next fight is gonna be different one. I'm gonna knock him out.
Scroll beneath Full Mount's latest video and you'll find the fanbase's heartbeat in pure text. Snark about John Jones, returning to court not combat. Digs at Dana's quick draw stripping finger. Giggles over Sugar Sean's father-son corner chat that looked more PTA meeting than fight prep. The algorithm loves such spice. Engagement doubles when humor pokes the bear. UFC social media managers scour those lines for promo gold, and fighters lurk too. Sean responded in stories, joking he'd crown his dad Defense Minister of Footwork. One top comment joking that the UFC Apex could use Kevlar glass got 8K likes in 8 hours, and rumor has it, executives took note for future arena upgrades. These quips don't vanish, they echo into Fight Week soundbites, sponsor pitches, sometimes even matchmaking choices. In MMA, the cage door swings on steel hinges, but storylines pivot on keyboard taps. So tonight's news cycle threads itself into one charged current. Ngannou carrying grief like new armor, Alvey flipping career odds and luring a strongman into our collective bloodlust, Gustafsson deciding if knuckles beat gloves for a final saga, Sterling turning a sure-thing prospect into a maybe man, Dillashaws giving the internet its wildest debate since Shark versus Bear, Tsarukyan gambling clout against time, and a comment section directing the spotlight with every witty jab. Reputations flip in an eye blink, destinies pivot on livestream banter, and tomorrow's shocker is already stalking tonight's winner. Stick around, because hearing the twist secondhand, that's one L no fight fan ever wants on their record.